Okay, so we're back out here in Louisville, right? And continuing on with our segments that we're doing to just bring people from within the industry, bring out some information, talk to folks, great folks like Alex Edwards right here that we're going to get into here shortly, because we want to start sharing information of just how great this industry is, right? Where it's headed, the direction it's going. It's not 1992. It's 2025. And we're serving a whole different type of clientele and people within the industry. It's just different. So we want to make sure that we're highlighting that and really bring it to the forefront, right? So we've got myself, Cesar Mascoro, Manufacturing Home Sales Mastery, Brian Hurd, Cardinal Financial, Tate Oliver, Cardinal Financial, and we're joined by Alex Edwards of Inspire Communities. You know, Alex and I've been dealing with as partners, right, and clients for a while now, and you know, we'll let you, Alex. How long have you been in the industry? Tell us about it.
Absolutely. So, been in the industry now about 4 years. For me, been real estate for about 20. So for me, real estate, homes, new construction has kind of been my background. So for me to kind of pivot asset classes from kind of like a multifamily new construction to MH and has just been really great. It's been something that's been unexpected. It was something kind of looking in, especially the brokerage world. It's as simple as you sell MH and there's almost a stigma, and then getting into the industry, you realize that how false that is. And you realize how well the homes are built and the communities and how well they're operated. And I mean, you have companies like Inspire who are genuinely care about the residents and really looking into being able to give someone an opportunity to buy a home that maybe never had the chance to. And so, I mean, over the years I've been in it, just being able to see, I mean, people save up their entire life to be able to buy a home, or save up or work their entire lives to be able to retire in a 55 and up community. And that's it's a great thing to see. And it just kind of, I would say this whole industry, this whole asset class allows that.
Right. So I got to ask, you know, what's your origin story? Why did you switch from resale and traditional construction to manufacturing? They're very different.
They are very different. For me, it's a lot of my background was working with developers, and I worked for a company in DC that did new construction development, sales, marketing, and all of that. So I think it was just a point where I guess the first foray was I want something different, and I guess being able to talk to people who are currently in the industry, I had a few connections, and it was just like, this is a great place. There's energy. There is a new tomorrow to kind of what this industry is. Sure. And so it was one of those things I said, all right, why not? Let's kind of get into it. So definitely I was head of sales and marketing at another community operator, and I loved being there. But now being at Inspire, it's really nice to be able to see kind of just how other companies operate and how growth is kind of the number one focus, which is great. We all love growing.
Right.
So, yeah.
So one of the things that obviously in the community space now, the majority of them are land lease communities, right? But there's still a need for that. I believe because of convenience, being most of those you're still able to be within the municipality, city limits. So you got what people consider normal life still around them. Right, even though they're leasing the land. Yeah. What have you seen as far as residents, new buyers coming into these communities over a 4-year history in this compared to what you were doing before?
I think really what it comes down to is ease of access. I mean, you have the community operators that are buying the homes, setting the homes, and making sure that everything is great for someone to come in and be able to buy their forever home, we'll call it. But then on top of it, just the ability, especially in age qualified, you have things for people to do. You have the lifestyle that people are moving into. And I think that really is a draw that you don't have in a lot of other like single family stick built home communities. I think that draw alone from an age qualified, I think is great. And then from all age, you really have a community of people who have all been through very similar things, have worked very, very hard to be able to own their home, have pride of ownership, things like that really brings the community together. And I think those are the things I've seen as kind of a reason to be in a land lease community. It's you have the ease of someone being able to maintain the land, take a little bit of a burden off of you. You can worry about your four walls and that's it. And I think it's a huge positive.
Right, right.
So one of the things I heard multiple times, some of the sessions that Tay and I were in this morning, they talked about the lack of new communities that have been brought on over the last 5 to 10 years. What's causing that?
I think it's just the right now kind of in the industry with like developments, I think that there's a collective of speed of growth, I think, is really what it comes down to. And I think that the one thing that inspired us very well is new development. I mean, we have Rockworth Ranch in Texas, and we have Munns Park in Arizona. I mean, you have these ground up developments that you're doing that are, you look at them and they look like resorts. They're beautiful. And I think that if that model continues, I think that you're going to see a huge growth in development. And I think it's just getting the product right. And I think that and personally, I think Inspire does it very, very well. But again, I think other players do too. And so it's not calling out just only Inspire, but I think that if you can get the offering well, and understand that this is not the new development of yesteryear. This is not the expansion of just like we're going to put a road down and just put curbs and then you're going to just add homes to it. You're building amenity cores that people are going to want to go to. You're going to have gyms that people then don't have to spend money on a gym down the road. You have pools, you have activities. And I think that finding that balance is kind of what the industry is doing right now. And I think that some of getting it right. And I think that once you have that right, there's just going to be extreme growth.
So you're almost really competing against the true master plan communities in the site built world.
Absolutely.
So how do you, I guess my question would be, so how do you market that?
Yeah.
So if I'm a consumer, how would I find your company, or how would I find a community such as yours?
So we really try to be as mainstream as possible with marketing. I think that the beauty of kind of the MH world is you have the powerhouses like MH Village, where you have the ability to market specifically to people who are looking for MH, and I think that is wonderful. They're an amazing company. And then I think you also have smart companies market the homes as the same stick-built venues that
I like
other
that
home
approach.
Yeah, so you have the Zillows, you have Realtor.com,
Smart.
you work with other vendors to be able to get those homes out there in the same arena, and the line between kind of MH and stick-built starts blurring. People come in and they start walking through homes, and they start saying, "Oh wow, this product's great," and like in fact, you have a HUD label on most of it. Just the things that people don't understand outside. And so I think that once you get them in, most are very impressed. And I think that that's what starts moving the needle and starts changing the stigma. And so my opinion is you market just like you're marketing a new home. You hit all the players, you get the syndication out there as much as possible, and you don't hold back the syndication, or you don't just do MH Village. MH Village is wonderful. You should be doing it. Every community operator should be as much as possible. But then there's the other side of it.
But I like that you said, you mentioned the word mainstream. We've been talking a lot about destigmatizing, but I think reaching not just the traditional audience that's coming specifically for manufacturing.
Absolutely.
It's reaching out to the ones that, okay, well, maybe they thought they wanted or needed stick built.
Yeah.
And open it up to that whole side. Because the buyer demographic that will look at a manufactured home now is dramatically increased from what it was 5 years ago.
Absolutely. And I think that, Florida, you see it, at least I've seen it in the past. Florida, you have people who are moving down to retire. And I think that getting down there, the realization that, pre-COVID and then post-COVID, you have a huge uptake in the overall cost of living in Florida.
Sure.
And I think that it's happened in a lot of places, happened in Texas, happened in Florida. And when you get down there, you're saying, okay, well, here's a stick-built house that maybe cost $300,000 5 years ago. That's $575 now. And I think that, it changes people's perspective of what they thought they were moving down to, what they've been saving their whole life for.
Mm-hmm.
And so when they get down there, I think that it kind of then opens the door to, well, let me look at a different asset class. Let me look at what I can afford. And for the the majority that I've seen, pleasantly surprised. You walk into a newly set 2024 home in a community, and I dare a lot of people to be able to compare them.
Yep.
And
Well,
I think
that's huge. And we talk about attainability, and it's not just for first-time home buyers.
No.
It's your retirees.
Yeah.
It's the people getting out of the cold, the snowbirds that want to go down to Florida or Texas or whatever. But the sheer cost of it is something that doesn't get talked about enough, I think.
Cost or quality,
Yeah, it really does. And I think that It's just, I mean, as you've seen just in the MH world, for the extreme increase into what a box cost was 5 years ago to now. But at the end of the day, everything has kind of gone on that similar path. And I think that it has shined a light on how, and again, like, I'm not sure if this is like you're saying or someone, or someone else is saying, but like, I hate saying affordable housing. It's accessible housing.
Right.
Like, it's one of those things that
call
like,
it attainable, but similar thing. Yeah,
and it's one of those things that's like, while it may be affordable, there's almost a negative stigma on that because exactly cheap, and it's not cheap. It couldn't be further from cheap.
It's not exactly.
And I think that is the thing that getting someone in a door, and especially like you get some, I would say some communities that do like hit set homes, and stucco and tile roofs, you could not tell a difference. You walk in that house, whether that is stick built or not. And so I think that as the industry grows there, and you start having community operators that are investing the capital for that, I think you start seeing the needle change.
Absolutely.
So as a team, or within the company and the team, what's one thing that you feel on the community side could be improved upon in order to help bridge that gap and change that way, the perception?
Yeah, I think that it's, I think there's a really need, and I think we see it on the RV side of business, as you have these great marketing engines that glorify RV. You have, oh my gosh, the name's escaping me, but you have blogs and you have social media accounts and you have things that show the actual use case of it. And I think that that's what's missing in MH. You do not, like, there's such a need for millennials and Gen Z entering the housing, their housing time, to be able to understand that they can buy something, that maybe they're not priced out. And I think that adding a little bit of a sparkle to it, adding a little bit of a story to it, adding like testimonials and people and stories and lives, and showing how people could afford a house and look at the house, look how great this kitchen is, like, that's what's missing in the industry. And I think that there's just not enough of that. And I think that each individual manufacturer does it very well, and each of their marketing, like, they're great, they are. And so what they are doing independently, but as an industry, I think that there is a need for somebody to be able to put something out there.
It needs to add some sizzle, because I mean, you're right.
Exactly.
I mean, RVs are sexy, tiny homes,
Yes.
all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Container homes and My Adventures on YouTube and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
And I love that Tay's been talking about this all day. Having these testimonials about people that, why they moved into this house and what they love about it. That's really important stuff.
Absolutely.
The story and the personality behind it. Really
Absolutely.
important stuff.
And I think that just as an industry, that getting that message out there is just not done enough. It's consistency, and it's just getting it out. I think they do a good job here and there, but on a bigger scale.
But I don't think you have seen any mainstream commercial on an MH company, and these guys make billions of dollars.
I don't know that I have.
You've never
Not
seen
that
an
I
MH
know.
commercial whatsoever.
They had a marketing campaign a few years ago where they were doing not just commercials, they were also doing billboards across cities and things of that nature. And I think they're starting to get back into it again.
I'm waiting for you to come out with your commercial.
I will be soon. we will be soon.
Sales master. During the Super Bowl, right? Super Bowl ad.
There you go. Yeah, we're gonna be coming after it.
At 9 and 5.
So, Alex, I got to ask, as a lender and as a Cardinal is a land home lender, what do you think your side of the industry's appetite is for that? Because I know you're predominantly chattel, but knowing that our good friends at Fannie do allow land lease communities,
Absolutely.
what is the appetite?
I think there is an appetite. And I think at the end of the day, I think that as you're starting to see the industry evolve, I think that you're going to start seeing longer term leases with fixed increases in them. I think that you're going to start seeing the need for Fannie to be able to do conventional loans. I think you're going to see.
They want to. I mean, that's part of the duty to serve, and I think that's part of it is a lot of people don't know. It sounds like you're pretty knowledgeable in that space, but yes, you can do a traditional 30-year fix.
Absolutely.
As long as it's 5 years greater than the actual lease term. Yeah. You can raise that rent as long as you fix it to a proper index. Yeah. And you can offer the same type of loan as if you're going to buy a traditional stick built.
Yeah, absolutely.
Same rates, if not better.
And I think that you're going to start seeing from a community space full communities that are going to be that model. And I think that you're going to start seeing that kind of take off, because I just think that there's a need for diversification.
Correct.
There's assets that you have right now that obviously you want the flexibility to be able to have the year to year, but I do think that having
both is important.
I think it's important. I think it's important. I think it's happening.
So, but I think one message that we can take from all of what we're saying is you guys in the communities should really start showing and comparing. You know what, Grandma, you could go rent that apartment over there for $2,500, or you can get a bigger home in our community for $2,200.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Correct.
Absolutely.
That is what it's not. That's what's not registering.
It's really not, and I think that I think every community operator tries to do the best, and I think that not gives a plug to Cesar. I think that being able to do kind of what he teaches is looking at the full payment and being able to sell to that in a lot of ways, which is super important. I think that it opens people's eyes to the fact that you are really going to be spending a lot more money going into multifamily or going into the stick-built home that is maybe the Del Webbs of the world, the 55 and up stick-built. I think that you start seeing the comparison, and it's drastic. And I think that being able to tell that story well, get that marketing out there, again, with the little bit of the sizzle piece, is really kind of the future. And I think that will start getting more en masse to be able to kind of look at MH, because there's definitely a need. So
you mentioned active adult, and that brings up a question. So how important is manufacturing in the active adult space?
I think
it seems to be growing. It seems to be pretty sizable already.
I think it's huge. And I think that as you see boomers starting to retire, and I think that you see an influx of people who are going to be kind of getting out of their home, their lifetime home that they've had, and all of that, I think you're going to have a need for, there's a lot of people that are in need now, and I think you have this massive generation, and I think that there's going to be a housing issue for active adult.
Yeah, we talk about millennials and other generations, but the boomers still represents a massive part of the buying population.
Absolutely. Yeah. It is, and especially now when you have a boomer population that has so much money in their home.
Sure.
You have liquid capital, you have the ability to do that, and then to be able to, being able to even keep your capital and finance is still a better way than being able to go into a stick-built home. I really just think and so I think that as you see the next 10 years, you're going to see an extreme need for active adult, MH, the affordability, because again, as you said, we talk a lot about affordability or accessibility on the younger generations, but that's not the only people who need.
It's not by a long shot.
No, it's not.
And it fits well. The low maintenance lifestyle fits well.
And if you have a fixed income, you have at least some continuity about the fact that you have your increases per year. You know what your house is. It provides security for so many.
Yeah, you can manage your living costs, your living expense very easily in this way.
Absolutely.
Plus the convenience of that lifestyle, plus the amenities that are there, and you have it all within an arm's reach, so to speak, because it's in the community. So I've been to some of these, man, and I'm like, holy smokes, I definitely would live here.
So are you doing a lot of training for community operators?
Right now, we do probably a good of our client base, 60%.
Oh wow!
70%
Okay.
is
as opposed to
retail.
Wow. Okay.
There's less ego. Less ego in the community space than there is in the retail space.
Stay neutral. We love everybody.
No, but I definitely do agree with the fact that this is what I've described even when I was a general manager, and I would be hiring a brand new sales consultant. It's one of the things I had to remind them of. What we do is not sexy.
But it can be.
Yet.
Yeah. There you go. That's the
yet. Key. And I think that's where this industry is going.
Yeah.
It's becoming that because out of necessity.
Yeah.
And people are finally starting to open their eyes that we're beyond just what we were before.
Absolutely.
There's a need for us to become that. And that's where I think we're going. And people like Alex in the industry and Inspire Communities in the community space and everyone, I think everybody's shifting in that. And you see it, you feel it building up.
Well, the spotlight is absolutely on right now. We all know that. Everybody wants to be a part of it, but now is our time to add that sizzle, add that sexiness to it, and get creative with it.
Well, as long as we keep these pretty faces coming back.
You didn't know what you're getting
It's coming back.
Well, Alex, I appreciate your time, man. I know
Thank you so much.
Your schedule is pressed and you got things to get done, but we appreciate you coming in, and as always, man, you're always welcome with anything that we do. And thank you very much for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
great
Appreciate
meeting,
it.
man.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you all.
All right, folks, there you have it, Mr. Alex Edwards, Inspire Communities. And where can they get information on Inspire?
InspireCommunities.com.
There you go.
There you go.
That easy.
That easy.
All right. We'll see you guys around Louisville. Let's get it done.
There you go.
Later, guys.